silent prayer and meditation. May we be seated? Order. Honorable members, today we must all be friendly because we are celebrating Diwali. As members may be aware, on the 22nd of October, the House extended its wishes to the Hindu community. I wish, on behalf of the House, convey our well wishes to the Hindu community. And I must say that Honorable Reddy also reminded us that we mustn't forget that this is an important day. I thought for him saying so, he might be having some sweets for Diwali to give to this House. That's very small, Honorable Reddy, for all of us. But thank you very much for that reminder, and I'm sure all of us, we wish all members of the Hindu community a happy Diwali today. This means that Honorable Reddy will be good to me, like all members of the Hindu community must be today.
Obviously. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Agreed. Honorable members, today we are having questions to the Deputy President. The only item on the order paper is questions addressed to the Deputy President. There are 4 supplementary questions on each question. Parties have given an indication of which questions their members wish to pose a supplementary question. Adequate notice was given to parties for this purpose. The members who will pose supplementary questions will be recognized by the presiding officers. In allocating opportunities for supplementary questions, the principle of fairness, among others, has been applied. When all the supplementary questions have been answered by the Deputy President, we will proceed to the next question. The first question, honorable members, has been asked by Honorable M.O. Siate. The question is about sectors of the economy international investors showed an interest to invest in, and steps taken to ensure a conducive environment for investors who wish to invest in different sectors of the Republic's economy. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate and value the question raised by Honorable Siate regarding the recent working visit we undertook to the United Kingdom recently. Following the elections and the formation of the GNU, the world was interested in knowing how are we going to ensure political and economic stability in the country. We have had various engagements in various countries, including in China during FOCAC, and the state visit, and in the US, also the visit led by the President during the United Nations General Assembly. I had the honor, Honorable Speaker, to lead a team of ministers, deputy ministers, senior government officials to Ireland and the United Kingdom. The overall aim of these engagements was to reassure the world and investors that our country is stable and open for business. I must say, in all of these meetings, we were warmly received. In the United Kingdom, we met with more than 20 institutional investors who are already investing in our country. We also engage with the government of the United Kingdom to strengthen and renew the historically deep and rich bilateral relations between our two countries by exploring new initiatives and opportunities for enhancing trade and investments. Following our working visit, we agreed to strengthen existing initiatives whilst also exploring new opportunities to maintain strong trade and investor interest in our shores and increase trade. We anticipate that the upshot of our visit will contribute to an increase in the UK investors who have shown a strong interest in doing business in South Africa. The ministerial team from relevant line function departments presented opportunities and processes for our SOEs, particularly Eskom and Transnet. They dealt with issues of energy, rail, and port projects, and water infrastructure projects, including the handing of the investment project book that was developed by Infrastructure South Africa to interested parties. Investors also received updates on Operation Vulindlela reforms, the progress of unlocking the regulatory framework, the faster deployment of energy projects, the easement of visa requirements, and the operationalization of the National Transmission Company of South Africa. They also received updates on collaborations with the private sector in the National Energy and National Logistic Crisis Committee. Honorable Speaker, there was a lot of interest, was shown in the area of decarbonization value chain, with a view to mobilize investments on the beneficiation of critical minerals at source to unlock the production in South Africa. The UK is a key investor in business processing outsourcing, and engagements were further held with investors who showed an interest in increasing their operations in South Africa. I want to thank our delegation. I must say, Honorable Speaker, that they worked very hard. There was no time to sleep. Honorable Speaker, the government has implemented several steps to stimulate foreign investment, including simple tax rules, investment incentives, and a more competitive regulatory strategy. We intend to continue with fundamental economic reform, increase investment in critical infrastructure, and improve the business operating environment, including improved visa regulations. These reforms aim to reposition South Africa as a world-class destination for investments, creating thousands of new jobs. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, we have also assured investors and the rest of the world that the Government of National Unity is committed to sound monetary and fiscal policies, as well as enhancing regulatory and legal frameworks to combat corruption and make South Africa a more attractive business destination. We emphasize to them that South Africa is open for business. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy President. Follow-up question by Ms. Honorable M.O. Siate.
Thank you, Speaker. Given the imperative to pursue the structural transformation of our economy, how will the government ensure that foreign direct investments are directed towards capital projects that promote jobs, industrialization, and meaningful, inclusive growth instead of them being speculative investments? And how will government also ensure that foreign direct investments are used to leverage domestic private sector investment in areas that promote structural transformation?
Thank you, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Siate. We start on the basis that government alone will not be able to achieve our objectives of growing the economy and creating jobs. As a result, we're taking these steps to engage the private sector, particularly also foreign investors who are interested to come and invest in our country. So one of the things we are doing, as I said, Honorable Siate, is to ensure that we deal with the ease of doing business. And through Operation Vulindlela, that's exactly what we are doing, to relook at our visa regimes so that those investors that are interested to come here are able to do so with ease. We are also ensuring that the regulatory frameworks throughout government are also friendly for investors who are able to come and invest here. So we were quite impressed that many of those that we met were very happy, and they were saying they will be taking advantage to come and invest in South Africa so that we can create the necessary jobs that we want to create, empower many of our people, particularly young people. So that's what we are doing, and Operation Vulindlela is very successful. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy President. Honorable M.M. Dluli.
Thank you, Speaker. Deputy President, how will South Africa's G20 presidency attract foreign investment from our largest trading partners to promote economic inclusivity and dismantle structural barriers for marginalized communities, while ensuring that these efforts do not jeopardize critical relationships in favor of vocal alignment with less significant trading partners for ideological reasons? Thank you.
Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ndluli. South Africa will assume the presidency of the G20 on the 1st of December this year. As you know, that currently it is Brazil, and Brazil is now finalizing. There is a summit now in November in Brazil, which will conclude the presidency of Brazil. We have taken a decision that as South Africa, we must use this opportunity of being the president of G20 to really prioritize our objectives of growing an inclusive economy that creates jobs, that we deal with the question of high cost of living, we deal with the issue of professionalization of the public service. But we want to use that also to benefit the continent. So what South Africa will do will ensure that as we chair the G20, we benefit the entire African continent. So we're looking at programs of infrastructure. Honorable members will know that when leaders of various countries come here, they come with huge delegation, including business people, and therefore they look for opportunities. But we will make sure that there is sound infrastructure to be able to ensure that people can have meetings throughout the country. We have decided that we will not concentrate our meetings in one place so that we can benefit the entire country, all the provinces. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Ngwagwa.
Thank you very much. Andizukwazi ke ngoyiphakamisa lento. According to the UK Department of Business and Trade's publication on trade and investment fact sheets dated the 18th of October.
Honorable Nkwankwa, if you can just come closer to your mic.
Ilento ndiyithethayo speaker.
Ungasondeza nje umlomo wakho
Ifunda
kuyo.
njani? Andihlale phansi ngcono.
Ndingakuvumela kokwangoku.
Ndiyabulela.
Enkosi.
According to the UK Department of Business and Trade's publication on trade and investment fact sheets dated the 18th of October 2024, recent South Africa was the 29th largest trading partner in 4 quarters to the end of Q1 2024, accounting for 0.6% of total UK trade. President. However, recent data reveals a concerning trend in trade between South Africa and the UK, where, for example, there has been a decline of 7.6% in that overall trade, including 11.3% decline in our exports to the United Kingdom. This substantial drop in figures, President, may be attributed to various geopolitical factors.
Can you please summarize your time?
Impacting the global landscape. The question is, as we seek to grow our rather stagnant economy, what strategies are being implemented to address, 1, economic, policy, institutional, and capacity constraints?
Your time is up, Honourable Member.
Growth and competitiveness with respect to this matter.
Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Kwankwa, for the follow-up. It is true that trade between us and the UK has declined. It's not only the UK, in many other countries, particularly after COVID-19, we saw a decline in trade in many of the major trading partners that we trade with. And that's the reason, Honourable Nkwankwa, that we undertake these trips to go and revive many initiatives. Many of you will know that we have had a long relationship, good relationship with the United Kingdom of Great Britain for many years, and we have been regarding them as one of our important trading partners. We're not going to end there. We're also looking at other countries where we can go and revive trade once more. Interestingly, Honourable Speaker, is that many people out there want to come and reinvest. So, Honourable Nkwankwa, you will see that trade will start increasing once more, once we make it easy for people to come and do business here. And as I said, through Operation Vulindlela, we are attending to many things that would have deterred people to come and invest in South Africa. So yes, trade had declined, but we are doing everything in our power to ensure that we revive trade with the UK and the other trading partners in other parts of the world. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Speaker.
Thank you. Order, Honourable Members.
Honourable Kwankwa.
Order, Honourable Member. Honourable Kwankwa.
Oh, sorry. Nkwankwa, sorry. Not Nkwenkwe. My apology, Tegas. I'll say Nkwenkwe.
Order, Honourable Members. Can we now move to the next supplementary question by Honourable L.W. Mashatile?
Ke a leboha Speaker. Ke a leboha Maafrika. Khotso Deputy President. Re thabela ho bona o le seemong se setle ntate wa ka. Now my question is, given South Africa's ambition to be a leader in the fourth industrial revolution and the importance of digital transformation for economic growth, how is the government addressing the widening digital divide and ensuring that rural and underprivileged communities have access to the necessary infrastructure, digital literacy programs, and cybersecurity framework to fully participate in a digital economy?
Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Mrana Mahlatsi Khotso. Tabeo Butsis the fourth industrial revolution, how will it benefit Haholo Batubaling in rural areas? Already we have a program that is driven by Department of Communication that is ensuring that we roll out digital communication in the rural areas as well. In the sixth administration, I had an opportunity to visit areas in Limpopo with the then Minister of Communication, who's now Deputy Minister Gungubele, and they showed me how they are rolling out this program in many of the rural areas. So I can assure you that the rural areas are not going to be left behind. So as we intensify the industrial implementation of the fourth industrial revolution, we digitize not only in urban areas, but also in those rural areas, in the farming communities. Infrastructure is being rolled out to those areas as well. Ke a leboga, Morena Mahlatse. Kgotso.
Thank you, Deputy President. We now move to the second question, question number 8, which has been asked by Honorable J.S. Peterson. The question is about reasons for sourcing critical skills externally and also asking what measures are being implemented to upskill and prepare South Africans in critical sectors of the economy. Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This issue of critical skills raised by Honorable Peterson is one of our important priorities currently. According to Operation Vulindlela report of the Work Visa Review published by the National Treasury in 2023, South Africa's available labor supply does not match demand from companies that are essentially looking to employ management-level personnel, professionals, engineers, technicians, science, math educators, as well as IT experts. This means that in the short term, we must source the requisite high-level skills internationally to support economic growth. Therefore, one of the reasons we source these critical skills on the critical skills list from outside the Republic is because the skills that are offered within the country, as I said earlier, do not always match market requirements. Consequently, we are implementing various measures to revolutionize our skills offerings. When the South African labor market is unable to generate skilled individuals in the short term, the critical skills list serves as a tool to provide a critical skills visa to foreign nationals with skills in areas with significant domestic shortage. In response to these challenges, government is promoting the use of the critical skills list in career development for young people, updating its website to showcase occupations in demand and shortages, providing description pathways and program costs, and communicating the list to universities and TVET colleges to prioritize the program and qualifications. Furthermore, South Africa has implemented various policies and strategies and initiatives to address skills development to bridge skills gaps in the country. Amongst others, this includes the National Skills Fund, which directs resources towards in-demand occupations and conduct programs assessment to evaluate TVET colleges and their programs against this list, advising them to review their offerings in order to ensure that they address the shortage of critical skills. The Employment Services South Africa, ESA, has on its database, if you look at its database, they ensure that they match these skills with job seekers and the job opportunities that are there. They look at bursary offerings, learnerships, and other training options. Both the industry and the South African government have crucial roles to play in spearheading skills initiatives to address the skills gap. Honorable Speaker, we are also implementing the HRD strategy, which aims to address global competition, poverty reduction, and inequality by accelerating development to match supply and demand for a skilled workforce. This strategy includes high and intermediate skill development, supporting large-scale employment growth through skills training, particularly at lower level. We are also addressing the digital skill shortage by offering training opportunities through technical and vocational education training colleges. These courses focus on practical digital skills like computer training, program software development, networking, and cyber security. In line with the vision of our National Digital and Future Skills Strategy, we are ensuring that the South African community becomes digitally adaptive to ensure digital inclusivity for future generations, making them employable. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, addressing skills deficiencies and implementing human resource development programs can strengthen the South African economy. By investing in skills development and fostering strategic partnerships, the country can contribute to workforce growth and avoid reliance on outsourced skills from abroad, ensuring increased local employment rates. This is what we want to achieve in the long term, Honorable Peterson. We call on all industry players to collaborate with government agencies, education institutions, and also non-profit organizations to develop and deliver skills training programs, particularly tailored to the needs of the South African economy and the South African labor market. Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Peterson. Honorable Peterson, in fact, these programs are already been rolled out as we speak. As you may be aware that we've also came up with a number of initiatives driven from the presidency. Your presidential youth employment intervention initiatives are already in place. And also, if you look at what many of our TVET colleges are teaching now, it's in line with what is the requirement of the South African economy. So these programs are not planned for the future. They are already being rolled out as we speak, and there is a lot of progress. We are, through the HRDC, we are linking up with all the institutions of higher learning, universities, TVET colleges, but we also bring in labor, business to work with us as we roll out these programs. But there is a lot of progress already in place. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy President. Honorable PM Maneli.
Okay. Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Deputy President, for your comprehensive response. Could you please provide a concise analysis of the metrics and benchmarks that are used to evaluate effectiveness of all these government interventions that you've spoken to that are aimed at reducing youth unemployment in particular, as you would have alluded to? I thank you, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Maneli. As I indicated that the President set up the Human Resource Council, which is tasked with implementing the Human Resource Development Strategy, which is the committee that I chair, and we bring in there, private sector. We also bring in NGOs and the trade union movements. We are able then to be able to share information of what is happening throughout the country. Both the ministers of basic education and higher education also sit in that institution and they give reports. So we are able to measure progress and see whether our interventions are working. We're also working with other departments as well, particularly those that have to do with labor and employment, to also be part of these initiatives. I must say that this intervention was very important, particularly because the private sector, being part of this as well, have been able to bring the necessary resources to match us as we ensure that we roll out this program of critical skills. So we are monitoring it through this HRD Council, but also we do use the institutions that reports to the President to be able to measure progress and ensure that where we feel that there isn't enough progress, we do intervene. We visit universities and colleges and ensure that we can work with all those institutions. So there is a lot of progress as we speak. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Ilunga elihloniphekile, umnumzane SL Ngcobo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Deputy President, given the pressing need for critical skills and challenge of high unemployment, what specific steps will you implement to integrate foreign-trained South African doctors and dentists who, despite completing Department of Health sponsored training abroad, are unable to practice domestically due to regulatory barriers? And how will your approach address both the skills gap and their employment needs, as shown in the demonstrations we have just seen in Pietermaritzburg and Durban and the other areas in other provinces? Thank you, Speaker.
Siyabonga, Sekela Mongameli.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Masibonge, Honorable Ngcobo. We have noticed this problem that some of our young people who trained abroad have a difficulty to access employment in South Africa, whether it's dentists or doctors. In fact, we've realized that because some of them study in countries like Cuba, etc., and when they come back home, the requirement at home that you must still then do another 18 months in the South African university. So it actually takes long for them to be able to get into the job market. And that's something that we are looking at. As I said earlier, let me not repeat myself too much, but Operation Vulindlela, amongst others, is looking at all these constraints because some of the things have to do with structural reforms that we are currently sure that all the students who come from universities, not only those who come abroad, should be able to access the job market easily. One of the things we are doing, we realize that there's a lot of shortage of doctors in rural areas. So some of the students that come back, they get deployed by the Department of Health to go and practice in the rural areas once they've completed their program in South Africa. As I said, it takes about 18 months as we speak. So certainly, Honorable Ngcobo, in those areas that you are worried about in KZN, we should be able to access those areas, make sure that these young doctors also go and practice in those areas. We will engage with the Department of Health to ensure that this actually happens. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy President. Honorable V. Zungula.
Mandibulise, Deputy President. Mr. Deputy President, the government has had over 30 years to skill South Africans in order to eradicate unemployment and poverty. The fact that in 30 years the government has failed to adequately skill South Africans creates an impression that unemployment and poverty is deliberate and directly maintained to benefit the elite. It is deliberate to ensure that South Africans live from hand to mouth and their primary occupation is to get their next meal. Because if South Africans aren't hungry and poor, they would fight for meaningful change where the land is restored to the rightful owners, the commanding heights of the economy benefit the people, and the mineral wealth of the country is owned by the people. Would you agree, Mr. Deputy President, that the lack of key skills development and overlooking, particularly of black South Africans, for decent paying employment is a tool that is used to keep the masses away from fighting for meaningful transformation, keep them at the mercy of the ruling elite, and sustain a culture of state dependency where self-determination is impossible? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Zungula, indeed, many of us are concerned that 30 years is a lot of time. And that's why you'll hear in most cases when we indicate what we deal with, we do emphasize the issue of agency to accelerate these interventions. Of course, some of them would not be easily achieved overnight. As some people would say, Rome was not built in one day. So there's a big challenge to achieve. These are huge objectives and targets we have set for ourselves. We don't want a situation where, because of lack of skills, young people are then abused. But certainly I can assure you that it's not an intention of our government to keep young people unskilled. In fact, the truth is the contrary. We want all these young people to be skilled and to be skilled quicker to be able to get into the job market. To the extent that there may be abuse also in the private sector because they don't have appropriate skills, is something that we will look at. And I'm happy because, as I said earlier, the private sector is working with us through the Human Resource Development Council. Young people must be educated, must be skilled, and given the opportunity to be able to work with us to build this country, build this economy, and not left to become part of what people sometimes call unemployed graduates. We don't want to have unemployed graduates. But thank you very much for this question, for being concerned about the issue of skilling young people. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy President. Question number 9 has been asked by the Honourable Moore. The question is about steps that have been taken by the Water Task Team to ensure that municipalities are able to immediately implement the recommendations made by Rand Water, particularly that the water storage in Gauteng will soon be depleted if municipalities do not implement the recommendations. The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. As we always say, water is life. Thank you, Honourable Moore, for raising this important matter. I've had discussions with ministers of water and sanitation regarding the water challenges in the country, especially in Gauteng. Many of you would probably be aware that the Minister of Water and Sanitation has also convened urgent meetings with the provincial government of Gauteng in this regard, and critical measures as we speak are currently being implemented to ensure we do not reach a stage where adequate supply of water becomes a crisis in Gauteng. The Water Task Team is also monitoring the implementation of measures to ensure that municipalities are able to immediately implement the recommendation made by Rand Water to avert water depletion. The reasons for the water supply disruptions in the Gauteng province has been identified as the high levels of leaks in municipal water distribution systems and high average consumption levels by residents. In addressing these challenges, the following measures are currently being implemented. The Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, and Gauteng metropolitan municipalities have set up a task team or a technical team to monitor water shortages and municipal consumption. Second, the Department of Water and Sanitation is also engaging with the municipalities to encourage them to address the leaks in their water distribution system and address also illegal connections. The third, as a next step from the level 1 water restrictions that are currently being implemented by municipalities, the Department of Water and Sanitation is working together with the Gauteng provincial government to encourage municipalities to put in place level 2 and level 3 water use restrictions and also to enforce them. In addition, the Department of Water and Sanitation facilitated the establishment of the platform for a water secure Gauteng in collaboration with Rand Water, the municipalities around Gauteng, as well as businesses, but also civil society leaders within the province. This platform, Honorable Speaker, is aimed at improving communication regarding water supply challenges and to raise awareness of the need to use water sparingly. The platform is currently raising funds which will be used for a major public communications and awareness campaign in the province regarding the need to save water. Further, a shared information repository and dashboard accessible to the public have been created on the department's website to communicate strategic and timeless information regarding water supply issues in the province. Given that water challenges are not only confronting the Gauteng province, the government, together with partners, is also implementing several interventions to address water challenges across the country. In this regard, the Department of COGTA, in consultation with National Treasury, have commenced with the conversion of the municipal infrastructure grant from Schedule 5B to a Schedule 6B to address the challenges faced by municipal infrastructure grant receiving water service authorities in respect of repairs and maintenance of their wastewater treatment works and also associated infrastructure. The conversion has already commenced in 2 municipalities, namely Uthugela District Municipality in KwaZulu-Natal and Mfuleni Municipality in Gauteng Province. We call on all citizens to adhere to the guidelines for water use and to use this scarce resource sparingly so that we conserve water not only for our use but also for generations to come. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Moore.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and thank you for your answer, Deputy President. I am very pleased to hear that we are aligned, at least at a national level. But my question is, Rand Water in May this year warned of this imminent crisis, which has now hit. Why has the Deputy President not taken the Gauteng MEC for Cogta and the Premier to task for not acting on this over the last 5 months? And if the Water Task Team cannot avert such crises like this, is it an effective structure or should its mandate be revisited? Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Moore, for your follow-up. As I said, Honourable Moore, that the minister is already there. So the issue of taking them to task is covered because the minister is on the ground, has met with the Premier, with the MEC. Maybe your concern, maybe we should have done it much earlier, but we are doing it. So everybody understand that they need to work with national to ensure that we pull in the same direction. We don't want provinces not to adhere to these important provisions, but the minister is there. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Montana.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Inhlekane, Deputy President. We've been reminded many times that South Africa is a water scarce country and that we should do everything to preserve this precious resource. However, Deputy President, I want to emphasize that many of the problems we face in this field are due to failure of policy and poor management rather than scarcity. We have also noted that when credit control measures are implemented to recover monies owed to municipalities, that water supply to schools, clinics, hospitals, and households are cut off completely, in clear violation of the Bill of Rights and other laws of the Republic. Water is a basic human right. What steps will the Deputy President and his task team take to ensure, one, that water supply to schools, clinics, and hospitals are never cut off under any circumstances, and two, the minimum water requirements for households is upheld at all times when credit control measures are implemented? Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Akensa Tatan Mondan. The reason why the President set up the water task team is precisely to ensure that we address these issues. You are spot on that there is a situation where some municipalities are not paying these water authorities. But we've also discovered that water infrastructure in many parts of our country is very old indeed and needs to be revamped. So the water task team is looking at these issues. The problems will be different in different provinces, but in the main, you will find that indeed there is old infrastructure that needs to be attended to. Together with the ministers of water and of Cogta, we are looking at this issue of payments. Some of the municipalities will say, well, we can't pay rent water or some of these water authorities because citizens are not paying. Or sometimes even businesses are not paying. So we need to enforce this culture of payment so that the municipalities are able to pay the water authorities so that we should not even think about rationalizing or think about cutting water supply. But certainly, you are quite right. We will talk to municipalities. Schools, hospitals are very important, and we must ensure that they always have the water they need. South Africa is a water scarce country, but we do have water in many of our dams. But the challenge sometimes, Honorable Montana, is actually reticulation. And that's something we are addressing. When I was with Minister Majodina in Limpopo, we found that the Nandoni Dam is full, but some of the villages nearby were not getting water because of reticulation. So the water task team is going to ensure that these issues remains a priority of its work as we crisscross the country and go into various provinces and municipalities. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Thring.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Mr. Deputy President, only 13% of our 257 municipalities received a clean audit for the 2022-23 financial year. Additionally, 59% of our municipalities were insolvent as at September 2022, and the vast majority do not invest in the basic amount required for infrastructure repairs and maintenance, including water infrastructure. Furthermore, the Vaal, Central and Magalies water boards are at the risk of bankruptcy, and the water tanker mafias are allegedly sabotaging water infrastructure. Mr. Deputy President, what interventions has the water task team taken to ensure that municipalities invest in water infrastructure repair and maintenance and prevent the theft and sabotaging of municipal water infrastructure, and as a consequence, prevent water boards from going bankrupt? I thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Thring. Yes, as I said earlier, this matter is on top of our agenda. The reason why you have leaks is because of not much maintenance or not even reinvestment in this infrastructure. So you're quite right. Some of the municipalities are not investing much in this infrastructure, and some of them will say, well, it's because we don't have the resources. So we are looking at this matter now right from national government level. In fact, one of the things that myself and Minister Majodina have been doing of late was to harass the Minister of Finance and say we need resources to assist in municipalities to sort out the problem of water, because some of the municipalities don't have a good tax base. So you can say to them and scream to them and say, fix the pipes, maintain, and they say, well, we don't have the money. And I must say the minister was very positive and said one of the things that they are going to look at is that we should indeed attend to this issue. Of course, the water mafias, they thrive when you have these challenges, because then they come with their trucks and then they can sell water to people. In fact, in some of the provinces, they themselves, the water tankers, they sabotage infrastructure. I came across this problem we were with the president in the Northwest, and we were very shocked when they were telling us, oh, no, these people are the ones who go and interfere with infrastructure so that they can come and sell water. So as we fix this problem, we have sound infrastructure, we invest properly, the mafias will not have an opportunity to survive. But Honourable Thrill, it is on the agenda of the water task team. We are dealing with it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Maimane.
Deputy President, I think it's important to note the fact that as was the case with load shedding, so will be the case with water shedding. Already you are announcing restrictions, and restrictions eventually turn to water reductions. As we saw with ESCOM, now we don't have load shedding, but there are poor communities who are still stuck with load reduction. My question, therefore, Deputy President, is in reading our adjusted budget, it says that actually no mega regional infrastructure projects have been completed. It makes it quite clear that even only 30 of the annual targets of 112 small projects funded through water services were only completed, and no district municipality has developed the targeted 5-year water and sanitation reliability plans. I dare say, Deputy President, you don't just have a water shortage problem, but you've got a capacity problem at municipalities. My question to you is, would you support a water infrastructure fund so that we don't end up with poor people without water? Because it's going to be a divisive issue.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Mohait Sudumel. It's a very important question, and I hear your suggestion. Let me also say quickly that Parliament passed what we call the Water Resource Agency Act, and that law is going to enable us to establish the South African Water Resource or Water Infrastructure Agency. I've been checking where this process is, and I'm told that there is progress now to set up this agency so that we can address this issue. I'm sure that the issue of a fund is a good idea. I know that the Minister of Finance already is working with DBSA to be able to channel funds for this purpose. To the extent that we may need additional funding, maybe from the private sector as well, we can look at that idea. But at the moment, we are using DBSA as a mechanism to be able to pull funds together to be able to address this. So we're going to accelerate the setting up of this agency so that we can move with speed to ensure that we address this problem because, as I said earlier, water is life, and we need to move fast to deal with so that we don't get to that problem that you allude to of water shedding. Our interventions now is to ensure we don't get there. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker.
We now move on to question 10, asked by the Honourable Denner. The question is about his interventions at service delivery hotspots and what emergency measures and long-term strategies the Honourable Deputy President's Office will implement to address the widespread contamination of water sources by sewage in municipalities. The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. This issue raised by Honourable Denner is troubling many people in our country or in our communities. Since the establishment of a service delivery task team, we have been engaging with both the Department of Water and Sanitation, COCTA, to intervene in service delivery hotspots. In this regard, I've had a meeting already with Ministers Majodina and Hlabisa after having met and worked with their predecessors on how best we can deal with the challenges of water and service delivery in municipalities. Honourable Deputy Speaker, since then, there has been steady improvement in the number of areas. According to assessment by COCTA in 2023, the number of stable municipalities has now increased from 30 in 2022 to 61 across the country now. Further, the number of municipalities identified as being in distress have decreased from 66 in 2022 to 34 in 2023. We have received reports on severe water and sanitation infrastructure challenges faced by communities in the Free State, many of the Free State municipalities. In the main, the lack of maintenance, which I alluded to earlier, and upgrading of existing infrastructure is actually the cause of widespread contamination of water resources by sewer spillages, particularly, as you said, in the Vaal River system. To this end, the Department of Water and Sanitation has opened criminal charges against some of the municipalities who are involved in acts of pollution and other environmental damages. These charges are at various stages of investigation by the law enforcement agencies. Furthermore, the Department of Water and Sanitation has issued directives to various municipalities for failing to comply with the relevant standards in the processing of effluent from their wastewater treatment works. Special attention is being given to municipalities such as Mafube, Malutia Pofu, Mangaung, and Metsimaholo. Water intervention steering committees have been established in these areas to tackle pressing issues of water supply and sanitation. Among other interventions or intervention measures, the Free State Provincial COGTA has allocated an amount of about 5 million rand towards the construction of emergency sewer ponds at a place called Frankfurt to ease the plant not to pollute the Vaal River during power failures. Progress to address the sewer spillages into the Vaal is closely monitored by the Department of Water and Sanitation. Madam Deputy Speaker, when delivering her maiden budget vote speech on the 12th July 2024, the Minister of Water and Sanitation announced that the new Podihadi Dam is under construction in the mountains of Lesotho, which is part of the 42 billion rand second phase of the Lesotho Highland Water Project that will provide additional water to the integrated Vaal River system, which supplies provinces like Gauteng, Free State, Mpumalanga, Northwest, and also parts of the Northern Cape. As part of implementing long-term strategies to address the widespread contamination of water and infrastructure challenges in municipalities, the Department of Water and Sanitation has put in place Water Partnership Office in collaboration with the Development Bank of South Africa, as I referred to earlier, that we work with DBSA, but also the South African Local Government Association, SALGA. The role of this office is to provide support to municipalities to establish partnerships with the private sector. For example, the Water Partnership Office is currently supporting the eThekwini, Mangaung, Buffalo City, Nelson Mandela, and Tshwane municipalities to mobilize private sector finance for the replacement of leaking municipal water distribution pipes, which are resulting in high levels of non-revenue water. In other words, that's the water that we lose through leakages. In conclusion, on the 27th of August, President Cyril Ramaphosa assented into law the South African National Water Resource Infrastructure Agency Bill, which set up a new agency that will be responsible for developing and managing all these issues I'm talking about. As I said, we are in the process now of setting up this agency. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we call on all municipalities, especially those on the banks of the Vaal River, to urgently prioritize repairs and maintenance of their water treatment works and associated infrastructure in order to avoid further pollution of our water resources. I thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Benner.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and thank you, Deputy President, for that very comprehensive answer. You've given us a lot of information, and you referred in your answer, for example, to Frankfurt in the Free State, where the Department of Water and Sanitation has put a team to look into interventions so that sewage do not pollute the river there, the Wilge River. But I have confirmation that sewage is still flowing into the Wilge River from the Frankfurt sewage plant unchecked as we are speaking here today. And that is the problem, Deputy President. There are many municipalities along the banks of many rivers that do not have adequate sewage plants. Either their sewage plants don't work due to lack of maintenance or infrastructure development, or there is just no political will to ensure that our scarce water sources are not being polluted by sewage. And it's all good and well to call on the municipalities on the banks of rivers to ensure that the sewage plants work, but that's not enough, Deputy President. So I would like to know, does your office have any plans to keep accounting officers of these municipalities to account, to do what they are supposed to do, and that which they are supposed to do with regards to the NEMA Waste Act? I heard that you said that the Department of Water and Sanitation has laid criminal charges in some instances, but to my knowledge, we haven't heard of one municipal manager that has been locked up due to, in effect, poisoning our water sources. So I'd like to know, what are your plans for proper consequence management for the poor management that causes all of our water sources that we need sitting here today? And it seems the if don't drink water because I don't understand what's going on here. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Bill. Let me thank you for bringing that matter to my attention. In fact, I spent a lot of time asking my office to check, because we have been given a lot of reports of initiatives that are happening, particularly in Sidibeng. You may recall that I visited Sidibeng with the former Minister of Water, Minister Mtunu, where we looked at particularly the challenge of sewer spilling into the Vaal River. And there were initiatives, including the minister at the time, investing in the water treatment plants there to ensure that they work properly. But if the problem is continuing, we will follow that up with Minister Majodina. As I told you, that the minister is on the ground. So very soon she will be in the Vaal. So to check this problem, if I can go to, I will. Because the reports that came to me gave us comfort that there is a lot of progress in the Vaal. But thank you for bringing it to my attention. You did say that people have not been prosecuted, but I did allude to this earlier, that indeed there are people who are charged as we speak, or that the minister has instituted cases against. And if I look at my notes, it's about 53 municipalities that minister has instituted cases against it for this problem. So perhaps what we will need to do with the minister, just to ensure that the prosecutorial authorities, those who are in charge of that, should move in that regard, so that we show we are serious if people don't abide by the law and regulations. But thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. We'll check it. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Niehaus.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honourable Deputy President, you have already referred to the fact that at the core of the issue of water contamination lies the ageing and inadequate infrastructure of our sewage systems. Now, greatly contributing to this problem is the ongoing overall planning and approval of high-density housing in estates without sufficient supply and demand management for sanitation services. In the Eastern Cape, in addition to what you have already referred to in the Vaal, we have seen reports that sewage is simply as raw sewage pumped into our rivers. Why has there been no proper upfront planning and investment in municipal infrastructure to deal with the pressures of a growing population on sewage infrastructure? And what plans does the government have in place, Deputy President, to sort out this problem in the medium term and in the longest term situation?
Your time has expired. The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Let me thank Honourable Niehaus for his concern on the pace of dealing with this problem. Honourable Niehaus, we do have the municipal infrastructure grant in place under COCTA. We are going to ensure that it does reach municipalities. We have to get them, they must apply for this infrastructure. So the problem that if some municipalities are dysfunctional, they are not able to take advantage of this. So we will look at it with Minister Hlabisa has been visiting a lot of municipalities. As I said, there's an improvement now of a turnaround of those who are doing better. And they have to utilize this grant because it is available for that purpose, to deal with aging infrastructure, to ensure that we continue to have proper maintenance. Because that's the problem sometimes, that even where infrastructure is available is not properly maintained. Lastly, of course, I understand that high-density housing, if people are initiating high-density housing without proper plans, it will impact on our water resources. So we are going to have to look at it. I think what's going to help us is coordination. And that's what the President wanted, to say, okay, there's COCTA looking at these issues, the Department of Water. Now through the Water Task Team, we are now coordinating and ensuring collaboration to address these issues. But thank you very much for the question. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Bila.
Nakensa Shandlasha Speaker, Shandlasha President Watiku Ishikani.
Aye.
Deputy President, to have an effective and efficient sewage system which upholds the dignity of all South Africans, municipalities and social partners should work collaboratively. Municipalities should develop the required infrastructure and routinely maintain it. And the community needs to ensure they do not throw objects that create blockages in the system and ensure there is no vandalism. Incidents of finding stillborn children, solid objects, and animals have been occasionally found. What measures will the Deputy President implement to contribute to changing social behavior to support the good functioning of our infrastructure development? Nakens.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Akensa, Deputy Speaker. Akensa, Honourable Bila. It is true, in fact, when we were in Limpopo with Minister Majodina, we realized that education is very important because there are people in communities who throw things into the pipes where water is being transported. And it's important that we educate them about the damage that this creates. One of the things the minister is doing with the mayors is for them to take responsibility to engage communities. I'm told that the executive mayor of Johannesburg told me, and that's what we want to see happening. We want to see all the mayors doing that, talking to their residents about the importance of water, what to do, not what to do. I think in the long run, that will assist in changing human behavior. The problem with human behavior is that it's not easy just to legislate it. You need social cohesion, you need a lot of other efforts. Communities must think this is important for us and our children, and so on. But it's an effort that we must all put in so that our people must understand the importance of this resource, particularly because we have stressed again and again that we are a water scarce country, and therefore we should be the ones as South Africans who are very conscious about the use of water. Honorable Bella, it's a very important question to ensure that we change social behavior. People must appreciate, and I say this again and again, water is life. And if people can get this message, I think we'll begin to see change. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Beasley.
Deputy President, in eThekwini, where I come from, the sewage crisis has decimated the tourist industry. As reported, tourism numbers have dropped from 7.4 million visitors in 2015 to only 800 visitors this year. The consequences of which are real. Many people have lost their jobs and their income through no fault of their own. Do you, Deputy President, understand and appreciate how dire the sewage crisis is in eThekwini, and what are you doing about it? And can I invite you, Deputy President, to come for a swim in Durban's beaches?
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I'm not very good at swimming, so I prefer a swimming pool. I might drown on your beach. But on a serious note, Honourable Member, I did visit eThekwini last year and looked at the challenges they are facing there. Remember that one of the challenges in eThekwini was also the floods. In fact, if you look at their water treatment plants there, it was actually completely flooded. It was underwater. So when I visited eThekwini, they were busy rehabilitating it. So yes, eThekwini might have serious challenges, but we are attending to them. The President has also set up a presidential task team on eThekwini, which is looking at improving infrastructure and a lot of other things that are affecting residents there. So we have not forgotten eThekwini. We are looking at it, and I think with time you will see improvements. The presidential task team is hard at work. It includes the mayor and a number of MMCs and the provincial government as well. And from the national government through ministers of Coct and Water, we are supporting them to ensure that they do a speedy turnaround to sorting out infrastructure there. The devastation that was brought by the floods was very extensive. So it will take a bit of time to get eThekwini right, but we'll definitely do. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Question number 11 has been asked by the Honourable Direku. The question is about the partnership between the Presidency and the National Business Initiative to convene a national dialogue to enhance service delivery through strengthening local government. The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Let me thank Honourable Direko for asking this important question on the need to fix in local government, because that national dialogue was particularly for that. This is a two-part question in that it requires a response on the partnership between business and government in supporting developmental local government. And secondly, it touches on the work we did, particularly last year, in response to the challenges of coalition governments in municipalities. Honourable Deputy Speaker, on the 17th of April, the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, COGTA, in partnership with the National Business Initiative, NBI, convened what was called Thought Leadership Dialogue, which I had an opportunity to address. And this was about strengthening local government as a convergence point of service delivery. The Thought Leadership Dialogue was anchored on the idea of leveraging new and strengthening existing partnerships to advance our country's nation-building and developmental efforts. Through such collaboration, we have been able to harness our skills, resources, and expertise to address our country's complex challenges and create an opportunity for progress and prosperity. The dialogue saw prominent government leaders across the three spheres of government, business leaders, non-governmental organizations, state institutions, and international organizations come together to build best practice forum that will guide the public-private partnership model to a successful running of local government. The main output of the dialogue was a partnership agreement between COGTA and the NBI, which is anchored on the district development model and focuses on research, policy analysis, and also thematic areas such as the following: just energy transition, water and sanitation, institutional capacity, and local government development. Honorable Deputy Speaker, in August 2023, we held a national dialogue here in Cape Town on coalition governments in municipalities in particular. That was the focus of that dialogue. The dialogue was in response to challenges in coalition governments at local level, at local government level, in other words, looking at municipalities. The national dialogue was attended by parties mostly represented in Parliament, but there were also civil society actors and other participants. Jointly, political parties at the time agreed to the following consideration to making coalition governments work effectively: consensus, a clear and shared agenda, firstly. Second, strong leadership and communication. Third, compromise. Fourth, strengthen institution. Fifth, power sharing mechanisms. Sixth, capacity building for public officials and politicians within the coalition. Seven, conflict resolution framework. And lastly, confronting corruption. Those are the issues that the National Dialogue here in the Western Cape, the University of the Western Cape agreed on. We are pleased, Honorable Deputy Speaker, to report that COGTA is taking forward the implementation of this outcome. Through our collective effort, both in the public and private sector, we will continue to work together to strengthen local government, empower communities, and improve service delivery. I thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Direko.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Honourable Deputy President, thank you for your response. Government service providers are largely private sector business and they affect the performance of government. From lesson learned, I have seen other providing quality services as per their scope of work, while on the other side, others did shady work, such as unfinished project, low quality works, etc. It sometimes compromises government on delivering quality services. So, Honourable Deputy President, what is the commitment of the business sector to improve the performance of business sector in implementing government projects? Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Direko. It is true, Honourable Direko, that private sector left unchecked do cut corners. Number of projects that they have to implement. The thought leadership dialogue that I spoke about earlier, in fact, sought to create a partnership with the private sector to help empower local government, or let me say municipalities, to do their work properly. So they were bringing resources and saying to COGTA, we'll work with you to ensure that your municipalities work well. You know that most of the time, particularly government as a whole, not only national, but provincial and local government, we do sometimes bring private sector through build, operation, and transfer because we don't have all the resources we need in some of the projects. But we must always have mechanisms to be able to monitor, to check the implementation, and of course, may I also add that there has to be consequences if people don't deliver as is required in terms of the contracts and so on. So yes, that's a matter that we will pay attention to ensure that public-private partnership don't end up in us allowing the private sector to do as they wish, cut corners, non-complete projects, and so on. There are, of course, people in the private sector who thrive on that. So it is the duty of government to ensure that we don't bring such players in that environment. We need to bring proper business people who will be able to do proper work. Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker.
The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Van Zyl.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy President, the Auditor General's report has highlighted a critical lack of capacity and effective leadership within local government, issues that align closely with the National Business Initiative strategic focus. Considering this, can we expect at least 2 catalytic programs, one aimed at equipping senior managers in municipalities with the necessary skills, capacity and integrity to deliver essential services effectively, and secondly, one to eliminate entrenched corruption in municipalities, particularly in tender and supply chain management, to foster sustainable economic growth? Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Van Zyl. Yes, it is true that we do have this challenge of lack of capacity in many of our municipalities. I did say earlier in one of the earlier questions that we have noticed improvements in in some of the municipalities that were dysfunctional. That number has now gone down, and those interventions are continuing. We need more of these interventions similar to the thought leadership intervention that COCTA had with the private sector to be able to eliminate corruption by empowering municipal managers, councillors themselves, mayors, etc., and ensure that they have proper systems. Because it's one thing to have good leadership and people who are trained, who have skills, but you need to have systems that ensure checks and balances, and we need to do that at the level of municipalities as well. So I agree with you that we may need to do more than what we have done so far, and programs like the thought leadership one and the ones that you are raising should actually be looked at to be able to empower local government. Because the more we empower local government, the more we train and get the right people, the more we will improve service delivery for our communities. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Van Rooyen.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Madume, Deputy President.
Madume Marana.
Deputy President, according to the laws of this country, we have what we call social responsibility plans. These are plans that enjoin various businesses doing businesses in our country to plow back and invest in communities where they are doing businesses. Recent studies confirm that most of these businesses are not doing that, mainly because the capacity of government to enforce this legislative provision is close to zero. Now, permeating to this initiative, which is a very noble initiative that you came up with, is the fact that most of these businesses, they attend...
Honourable Member, your time has expired.
We just want to know, as MK Party,
Honourable Member, your time
what
has expired.
What will you do differently to make sure that they comply to these pledges? Because most of the time these pledges don't trickle down to the poorest of the poor. Thank you.
Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Madume Ntate Van Rooyen. And Ntate Van Rooyen, I used to work with you very well previously, and I miss you at home. I wanted to check, when are you coming back? Because we can deal with this question easily at home. But let me say, Honorable Deputy Speaker, that yes, part of the reason why we introduced Operation Vulindlela was to ensure that we can ensure that we enforce legislation. So we remove all the impediments on the way to ensure that legislation is implemented to enforce compliance across various sectors of our society. So yes, if we have to do things differently, Honorable Van Rooyen, we must accelerate enforcement, ensure that that is strengthened. One of the things the President has done, as members may be aware, was to have a minister responsible for monitoring, evaluation, and planning, Honorable Maropeni Ramokgopa. And she does a lot of this work to ensure that we don't end up approving programs, whether from the Cabinet, Lekgotla, and various levels of government, but there's no implementation and enforcement. So enforcement will be strengthened to ensure that we can achieve the desired result. Honorable Van Rooyen, ke tla o bona seo o buile ko gae. Ke a leboga.
The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Zibi.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Ndiabulisa, Deputy President. Many municipalities are in serious financial trouble. They owe creditors over 116 billion, with 75% of this being more than 3 months overdue. In turn, municipalities are owed 340 billion, of which nearly 300 billion is older than 90 days. About 73% of this is owed by households. I think, Honorable Deputy President, we can accept that with people struggling with the cost of living, much of that money will not be making its way into municipal coffers. Can you please say what the plan is for the financial recovery of municipalities, which is critical for service delivery? I thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Honourable Zibi Ndiabulele, you are quite right. Many of our municipalities are in financial distress. I did allude earlier to the fact that when Honourable, I can't remember who raised the issue of a fund. So we are working with DBSA to ensure that we can crowd in resources in the direction of helping municipalities to be able to sort up their capacity. But you are also quite right that many communities owe municipalities. And by the way, not only communities, even business. Many businesses as well. So when municipalities can't pay for water supply from rainwater and whoever, it's because many of people in our communities don't pay. So one of the things we must do, Honourable Zibi, is to improve credit control to ensure that people do pay, but also we will sit down with the Minister of COGTA, Minister of Water, with DBSA to look at how we can ensure that we address the problem of ailing municipalities. We need to work with the Minister of Finance as well. Some municipalities are in areas where there's no tax base, so they can't really collect much, and therefore they become financially not viable, and something that we must look at. But I agree with you that municipalities must be paid. I think Minister of Finance emphasized that yesterday to say, please, all of us, let's pay for services. Let's pay for water. Let's pay for all the services we receive. Because when municipalities are bankrupt, they won't be able to supply those services. But thank you very much. It's something that we're going to prioritize with the Minister of Finance and DBSA to ensure that that number of municipalities in distress reducing must continue to reduce so that in the long run we have all our municipalities working very well. Thank you very much. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker.
The last question has been asked by the Leader of the Opposition. The question is about whether the government will introduce a bill to amend Section 25 of the Constitution to give effect to land expropriation without compensation instead of expropriation with nil compensation. The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Honourable Deputy Speaker, accelerating land reform remains the key priority of our government. I'm glad that Honorable Hlophe is also concerned about this matter. Previously, we updated this august House on the work that is done by the Interministerial Committee on Land Reform and Agriculture. For example, in the past 5 years alone, the Interministerial Committee, through the relevant departments and state organs, has redistributed more than 300,000 hectares, where more than 127,000 hectares were allocated to women, 111,000 to young people, and 2,781 hectares to people with disabilities. And this is between the period 2019 to 2024 this year. About 2.3 million people have benefited from land restitution, where a total of 25 billion rand was spent on the restitution of more than 3 million hectares of land. An additional 22.5 billion rand has been spent on financial compensation for those beneficiaries who opted to receive financial compensation instead of the land being transferred to them. Honorable Hlophe, this matter of the introduction of a bill to amend Section 25 of the Constitution falls within the structures of Parliament. Honorable members will remember that in the 6th Parliament, the Parliament established the Joint Constitutional Review Committee, which conducted public hearings in all provinces of South Africa to get public inputs on the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution. This process culminated into the development of a bill that was aimed at amending Section 25 of the Constitution to allow for expropriation of land without compensation. However, the National Assembly could not pass the bill since its support could not meet the required 2/3 majority for the 18th Amendment of the Constitution. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the current constitutional framework provides for expropriation of property subject to just and equitable compensation. To this end, Parliament has passed the appropriation bill, which has been sent to the President for assent. The bill provides for the expropriation of property for public purposes or in the public interest and other matters connected therewith. Let me assure this House that our agenda of accelerating land reform and land restitution will continue. However, we are certain that once the President has completed his consultation process and assented to the bill into law to become an expropriation act, government will be in a better position to accelerate the pace of land reform, land restitution, and sustainable development that will benefit all the people of South Africa. I thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable the Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you very much, Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Deputy President, good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, Honorable.
Thank you. The question related more to expropriation of land without compensation.
Yes.
But the follow-up question is as follows. Do you concede, Deputy President, that the absence of a bill relating to expropriation of land without compensation, rather than this vague and deceptive notion of nil compensation, the absence of a bill before Parliament is a clear indication of the government's unwillingness to address the issue of land reform. And given the ANC's conference resolution and overwhelming demand of the masses in terms of submissions to Parliament, can you please respond to MK's view that the nil compensation notion amounts to no more than a sellout posture? If you do not agree that it is a sellout posture, kindly clarify to us how nil compensation fulfills the spirit of genuine land redistribution as envisioned by the people of this country and as contemplated in your own conference resolution and the Freedom Charter. Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. In the conference of the ANC, my recollection is that in the 55th conference, the 55th conference acknowledged and accepted the fact that we could not amend the constitution as we wanted to. So we started there. And once we acknowledged that, the conference then said, go and implement an expropriation act. In fact, they said speed up that process because we had an old expropriation act. We needed a new one that in a way will take into account some of the things that we could not achieve by amending the constitution. That is the act I'm referring to, Honorable Hlophe, that it's about to be signed. It may well be that maybe you may have issues with the wording thereof, but the intention is to achieve exactly that we need to be able to expropriate land without compensation where applicable. There will be, I think we use the word in the act about that we should expropriate land for public purposes or if it's in the public interest. The issue of nil compensation, well, I'll look at it, but my sense, Honorable Hlophe, is that nil compensation means you don't pay. Yeah, unless, okay, I'll check what the Oxford Dictionary says, but you don't pay. So it means it is expropriation. Where applicable, government will ensure that we don't pay. Mhlambi mele sisibheke kahle lesilungu futhi. But my point, Honorable Hlophe, is that I think let's get this bill signed, let's look at it, and to the extent that it may not have the effect of distributing land the way we want, restitution, Parliament is at liberty to look at it. Parliament is at liberty to bring back a motion to try and change the constitution if you can get the 3/3 majority that we couldn't get before. So good luck, the one who will bring it back. Mobilize a lot to get that 75% to change the constitution. But let's not waste time. I'll talk to the president, we'll sign the bill into law, and then we'll implement. A lot of work is already happening. Let's accelerate it. Let's not wait for the day we might be able to amend the constitution. Let's use this Expropriation Act. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Nalumangu.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy President, thank you for your comprehensive response. Can you demonstrate what government has done in terms of land reform and what we can do more to accelerate land reform?
The Honourable Deputy President.
Honourable Nalimango, I'm convinced that this is a matter that is very important in your heart, because in my response to the question earlier, I dealt exactly with that. What we need to do, if you go back to my answer earlier, you say a lot of land has been distributed already. Restitution, I talked about more than 300,000 hectares of land. So we are working already. We're not even waiting for that bill. We are already working. So a lot of land is being distributed, but also targeting sectors, women, young people, the youth, to also to be able to benefit with the land, to be able to also participate in developing the land, whether they want to farm, but also in urban areas as well. People want land in urban areas to build land and so on. So expropriation of land has always been there, but we accept that where applicable, the state does not have to pay for that land. That work is happening, Honorable Nalimango. We are just going to accelerate it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Order, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Reddy, is it a point of order?
Yes, Madam Speaker, we've noticed, we've timed that the DA spoke for 3 minutes asking a question, and we were cut short. I'd like you to look at the Hansard and come back to us and give us an input as to how long they took and why is it that they were allowed more time than other parties. Thank you.
I will indeed do that, Honourable Reddy. I might just also inform you that I have a big screen, and Honourable Reddy, I am addressing you. I have a big screen in front of me with the time, and I actually gave your member 24 seconds more before he finished his question. But I will check on the Hansard, but I can confirm that, and the table will also confirm that. I am very strict on the time allowed.
Please check the Hansard, Madam.
I will do that. I have replied I will do such. We now go on to the third supplementary question, which will be asked by the Honourable Paulson.
Goedemiddag, young Speaker. Nzenga Shandla Shah, President. Considering that land reform has stalled, and over the past 3 decades, only 10% of the land has returned back to natives at
Honourable
significant
Paulson,
cost.
if you could perhaps just take your seat for a minute. I see there is a point of order. The Honourable Chief Whip of the DA.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. My apologies for not standing on this earlier. It is quite far where we are sitting. Madam Deputy Speaker, the rules dictate that a point of order like that needs to be taken at the moment when the incident occurs. And with respect, I would therefore submit that it is not possible for a ruling on that matter. Honourable Reddy should have stood up when the matter occurred. Thank you.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Honourable, before you cannot take a point of order on a point of order. I first have to rule on the first point of order. So, honourable members, it is correct that you have to take the point of order on that particular point. I have, however, allowed Honourable Reddy to take the point of order, and I think it is for the good order of this House that we make absolutely sure that the allocated time has been given. But in the same vein, I also have to tell members that please, if you prepare a question, if you do your follow-up, check yourself. If you speak off the cuff and you ask a question, make sure that you are timed. Because we have had a few instances this afternoon where I had to, unfortunately, intervene to say your time has expired. So, Honourable Chief Whip of the DA, your point is taken, it is correct, but I have allowed Honourable Reddy to raise the point. We will now proceed. Honourable Paulson.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, can I start from the beginning because there was an interruption?
I will allow that, as I think the Deputy President would like to hear right from the start.
Yes. Thank you very much. Considering that land reform has stalled and that over the past 3 decades, only 10% of the land has been returned to natives at significant cost to the taxpayer, and specifically considering the failure of the land restitution program, which has failed to settle land claims lodged in 1998, and there are further land claims that have been sealed from 2014. Have you considered reviewing the land reform program in its entirety to fast-track the return of land to natives? If so, do you think such a fast-track land reform program can work if the premise still remains that we compensate white settlers for stolen land? Thank you very much.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I can say Honourable Coulson. Paulson. I can say Tatani Paulson. Yes, got it right. Sometimes when I don't see who's speaking, I try and look at the list. Now I found that, no, it's a different person doing a follow-up. I was waiting for Julius. Sorry, not Julius, Honorable Malema. So I was trying to think, who's that one? Honorable Paulson, thank you for the follow-up. Yes, indeed. I think all of us accept that land reform, restitution, that this process has been slow over years. I think that's given. We've also all agreed. But the point I'm making is that we are now intervening. Let me just say, Honorable Paulson, that one of the things that we did immediately was to set up an interministerial committee on land reform and agriculture, which is now in place, as I said earlier. But there's another institution we're setting up, and it's going to do exactly the issue raised, and we call it Land Reform and Agriculture Development Agency. It's going to do exactly that, because you're quite right. When you implement a program, you can't sit and say, I'm implementing a program for the next 10 years. You do always have to monitor and at some point review if the program is not moving according to the way you want to. So it is something that we will look at, but of course, the reason why this agency is not in place, because as you can hear, it was land reform and agriculture. Now those departments has been split into 2, so we are sorting that quickly to say where it will reside properly and what we'll call it. So it should be done sooner. But definitely I agree that as we go on, we will keep looking at our programs. And where there are challenges, we intervene to make them work better. And I think that's the purpose of review. When you review, you may not be able to review the entire land reform program, but you may be able to look at elements of it and look at those that are not really adding value as we go forward. But thank you very much for the question. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Sali.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Honourable Minister, in your role, how serious is government? It's 30 years, our people are still living in shacks. How serious are you to correct the injustice of the past? Will you take the lead in allocating a free piece of state or crown land to each matriculant of class 2024 who has passed the exams? at first to expropriate land without compensation and further extend this to all recipients of social grants who do not own any land? Thank you.
The Honourable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker, Honourable Sally. We are fast-tracking land reform as we speak. We know that people need land to farm, they need land to build houses, and so on. We have already accepted that we started the program in the previous years moving a bit slower, but where we are now, we are accelerating. So we are very serious about land reform. Land is everything. I recall when I was young, when I was growing up in the struggle, I was always taught the struggle is always the struggle for land. So when you come from that kind of political education, there's no way you can't be serious about land reform. Because the struggle has always been the struggle for land. So watch and see what we will be doing. We are moving now with speed. Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, Deputy Speaker.
Honourable members, that concludes questions to the Deputy President. I thank the Honourable Deputy President. Honourable members, I wish to announce that a meeting of the Rules Committee is scheduled to convene in the Good Hope Chamber 15 minutes following the adjournment of the House, as well as the Multi-Party Women's Caucus, which will meet here in the new Mr. Marquis Chamber immediately after the House has adjourned. And with that, I request members to stand and wait for the presiding officer and the mace to leave the chamber. That concludes the business of the day, and the House is adjourned.